Well, good morning, everybody. It's a Friday. We had SmackDown last night. We got TNA tonight. But we're going to talk about two different issues. First off, uh, Stone Cold Steve Austin has really raised the eyebrows of a lot of people, stating that he probably will show up at WrestleMania 32 next year, being in his home state. Um, he also is adamant on the fact that he has no hard feelings with Vince McMahon. There's no issues whatsoever. And apparently, there was rumors out there as well that he was upset with uh, the slingshot stunner uh, that John Cena now uses. And Stone Cold said, "No way, no how. He can even use the original stunner, and it won't be upset." He said, "I have the utmost, most respect for John Cena more than anybody else in that company," and he wanted to put that out there. So that's great news by Stone Cold, a classy guy, and yeah, I just it was great to hear that. Now, this is a little bit of a opposite. Instead of praising, it's like a rant on Vince Russo. Who Vince Russo, I mean, just made some really negative comments about Sami Zayn, saying he's not a star. He's just pretty much an average guy. And Vince Russo, by the way, if anybody watches a lot of his podcasts or his videos, he's pretty negative about a lot of things. I think he himself takes all the credit for the Attitude Era in the WWF back when the Monday Night Wars were going on, and yeah, he happened to be in the right place at the right time. Russo was head writer for the WWF, but without WCW, would have Russo ever had this kind of praise for the Attitude Era? Because the Attitude Era probably never would have emerged. Um, I don't think Russo would have even thought about doing what he did if it wasn't for that immense competition by WCW. So yeah, so this guy has really got a lot of he's full of himself for sure. I've never seen a guy like this before, and I often wonder too because after Russo left the WWF and WWF was starting to overtake WCW, and I think for WCW, a lot of it had to do with Bischoff just burning out. He just had so much he had to do. Um, he he did all that he could do, and he was running out of ideas. And I think the NWO just dominated WCW for like three solid years, um, at least. And after a while, things do run their course. And then when Bischoff was gone uh, from the head writer and the booker from WCW, in comes Vince Russo. And what did he do? And I said this right after Vince Russo went to WCW back way back when in the late 90s. I said, what? Is he sent there by Vince McMahon to destroy WCW? Whether that had anything to do with anything or not, I'm not saying it does, but it just was so coincidental because once Vince Russo went to WCW, there was some major messed up changes. Um, we we just saw people that got into the main event for the WCW World Heavyweight Title that made no sense. We saw Billy Kidman defeat Hulk Hogan, and then right after Kidman gets the WCW World Heavyweight Title, Hogan gets fired. We saw David Arquette become WCW champion, although be it was for promoting the wrestling movie, but there was just a lot of really things that went on that to me just didn't make any sense, and that is part of the reason why a lot of the WCW stars wanted out. They knew that Vince Russo he was definitely going in a different direction, and I can see him going into a different direction, but don't just do it like turning on a switch, you know, having it on and then shutting it off, and then, once you turn it back on again. I mean, it was a totally different TV show for Monday Nitro. And I think Vince Russo had a big part in the downfall of WCW. Eric Bischoff, he tried. He tried to come back and save it. He was close to really taking over WCW, but he could not get a TV deal. And that was the major thing because Time Warner was done pretty much with WCW, and that was another big part. So all they could do was just really sell out, and it worked out well for Vince McMahon. And to this day, I always thought there was a connection between Russo and McMahon when all this is said and done. But my point being, Vince Russo, quit being full of yourself. Any head writer probably, when the Monday Night Wars were going on, when the ratings were through the roof, any head writer probably would have got the recognition. You just happened to be the one at that particular time during the Attitude Era, and you think to this day that it's you guys just never give it up. It's just like with Bischoff and Hogan going to TNA and putting TNA up on Monday night against Raw. I mean, was that really a smart idea? I mean, really? And then all of a sudden, your major star, AJ Styles, gets beat by a lackadaisical pin by RVD in February of 2010 to lose the title. The most popular star in TNA. People were happy that AJ had that belt. But when Hogan and Bischoff came in, they were just like, they were thinking WCW. And that was the biggest mistake. And I think, Dixie didn't realize what was going on at the time. She thought they were definitely going to help her out. And they did for the ratings, for a while. But, when it was all said and done, really was TNA ready to go head to head with the WWE on Monday night? I mean, seriously. And then, Vince Russo wanting to go to TNA and doing some head writing and booking and whatnot. These guys just never know when to go away. You have like 3 great years in the WWF, and because the WWF ended up taking down WCW, you make it look like it was all you're doing. And then to start talking about superstars that are up and coming, the talk about Sami Zayn the way he did, I think it's totally ridiculous. Sami Zayn, is he the greatest wrestler up and coming? No. No, but he's a very good wrestler. The fans like him. He's very good in the ring. And, to be quite honest with you, I don't think Vince Russo would really like anybody nowadays unless he was the man that booked these guys to make them look bigger. So, in my opinion, Vince Russo, you'll always get the credit for the Attitude Era, but, I give you 50% of the credit, but I give the other 50% to WCW, because if it wasn't for WCW, there wouldn't be no Attitude Era, and you would not have gotten the praise that you get today. And I think as far as future stars come, really, keep your opinions to yourself, because they're never going to ever be anything that's very positive that comes out of your mouth. So, this is the Iceman on the Iceman's Return YouTube channel. It is Friday. Things are winding down, but I thought today was a good day to come out and do a video. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.